Welcome back, everyone. I want to thank you all for your support that I got in the last video. We covered the politics of the Phantom Menace, and it was quite a lot. Though as the films continue in the franchise, politics are not as much of a focus. This is likely due to the fact that it didn't really resonate with the audiences. But that doesn't mean it is entirely absent. Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones released in 2002 during the Bush era. If the 90s were a turbulent time in American politics, I don't even know what to call the 2000s. Once again, George Lucas tried to emulate this climate through his film. Today we're going to try to break that down. Let's get into it. There's an elephant in the room that we need to mention right away. 9/11. On September 11, 2001, two commercial planes, Flight 11 and Flight 175, were hijacked and crashed into New York City's largest towers, the World Trade Center. The attack was carried out by Al-Qaeda under the supervision of Osama bin Laden. This was the first attack on American soil since Pearl Harbor in 1941. The country grieved and was looking for someone to blame. In response, President George W. Bush announced the invasion of Afghanistan in October 2001. The U.S. government accused Afghanistan's Taliban of housing Osama bin Laden and other al-Qaeda members. With the help of NATO, Operation Enduring Freedom was underway with the goal of dismantling al-Qaeda, removing the Taliban from power, and preventing any future attacks. The early onset of the war was a success, weakening the power of both al-Qaeda and the Taliban. Even after that, however, the United States military were still deployed in the country with no plans of an exit. They even established a new Afghan government led by democratically elected Hamid Karzai. The American public began turning on the operation, arguing it to be about nation building and power rather than protecting the national security. That sentiment was only amplified when President George W. Bush announced the invasion of Iraq in 2003. Bush claimed that Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein was partnered up with al-Qaeda and housing weapons of mass destruction in their country to use against America. Only there was never any evidence to support these claims, even to this day. Instantly, this invasion was more controversial. It was accused of being a manufactured conflict based on a hypothetical threat. Now keep that concept in mind as we move on to Attack of the Clones. The film begins with Palpatine in his role as Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. No spoilers, but I'm pretty sure we all know he is Darth Sidious. The Senate is his tool for ultimate power. The way he controls them is through fear and war. So it isn't a coincidence that during the start of the movie, there is a fear about a potential war with Count Dooku's separatists. The Separatists, also known as the Confederacy of Independent Systems, are a group of planets that left the Republic after Count Dooku revealed the Republic was corrupt and being led by a Sith Lord. The only issue is that Count Dooku is also a Sith Lord and he is the apprentice of Darth Sidious, and they created this war to consolidate power. So back to manufactured conflicts, this is similar to the invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq. Both Bush and Palpatine manufactured these wars to gain political power from the fear and chaos. But what does that power look like? For George W. Bush, it was the Patriots Act. After 9/11, there were three big questions on every American's mind. Are we safe? How do we let this happen? And is there anyone in our country we can't trust? The government needed as much information as possible on its citizens to answer these questions. The Patriots Act gave them that power. Passed on October 26, 2001, the government was now allowed to monitor citizens' phone calls, emails, and other communications, search a citizen's business, medical, and library records without their knowledge, demand personal data from companies without a court order, and search people's homes without a warrant. They were able to capitalize on the fear caused by 9/11, granting them powers that, some might say, trample on the rights of the citizen. For Palpatine, this capitalization on fear leads to the Emergency Powers Act, brought forward to the Senate by none other than Jar Jar Binks. I love that guy. In the immediate moment of the film, Palpatine uses these powers to commission the clone army. This implies he now has complete control over military affairs, bypassing the Senate. The checks and balances once put in place have now been stripped away, allowing the party to do whatever they please. The film is warning us. It is trying to say that when a government fails to stop one person from consolidating power, we fall victim to dictatorship. Obviously, America has not fallen that far yet, but who knows what's happening behind the scenes and what type of hidden goals our politicians have. It's happened to other countries before. The most famous example being Adolf Hitler, who was democratically elected as Chancellor of Germany, and with the Enabling Act of 1933, allowed himself to enact laws without the Reichstag. We'll touch more on the dictatorship angle and the Adolf Hitler comparison in the next video on Revenge of the Sith when it is more relevant. I don't want to play all my cards too early. We still need something to talk about next video. With that being said, we've covered everything in Attack of the Clones. I want to thank you all for watching again. This video was a little harder to make than the one on the Phantom Menace. Last movie we had confirmation from Lucas himself about characters' in real life connections. In this one, we only have to go with what's on the screen. No sneaky names or quotes pointing us in a certain direction. This was all just speculative comparison. Perhaps George Lucas never meant for any of these parallels to be there and I'm just crazy. If you disagree with anything I've said or have a different view, please share it in the comments. These videos are made to promote discussion and I love to hear all of your thoughts down below. Once again, thank you all and I'll see you next time for Revenge of the Sith. It is coming soon, so just wait on it. Good night.